By players, for players.
Hello, Alex.
Hello, Tatiana.
You are the poker ambassador for Unibet from the UK, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
I could tell from your accent.
Aye.
Tell me how you're enjoying the Unibet Open.
I'm enjoying it very well so far. Yeah, it's good fun. I've got a great view of the castle from my hotel room. It's a very nice hotel. I've already busted from the tournament, but after day one, but I'm
What
still
happened?
here. Ooh, pretty much card dead. I guess I lost my chips in the end with a hand that I was dominating my opposition, King Jack versus King Queen, but c'est la vie.
Speaking of your hands, we're going to get to it later. But first tell me, how did you find Unibet? How did you start playing for Unibet and why Unibet?
Why Unibet? Okay, it started off, I write a column for Bluff Europe magazine called Pickleman. And I started off covering the London Unibet Open for Bluff. And I actually cashed in that tournament. And during the Poker in the Park festival, which is a poker festival, free poker festival, the biggest free poker festival in Europe that Bluff Europe runs, I was the head lecturer at the Poker in the Park tent, which was sponsored by Unibet. And I got to know the head of Western Europe for Unibet at the time. And we ended up working with each other, and I ended up being a sponsored Unibet Pro. So,
That's great. So what do you have to do when you're sponsored Unibet Pro? Do you have like any things that you have to do every day, or you just play the events? And
well, I think it varies from person to person. I think the way that they view it is like a football team, that each ambassador has a certain role. And so you don't have 11 strikers in a football team and so on. So I guess, I'm primarily a journalist, so I write articles for Unibet, I write a blog, and obviously I get to come to the Unibet Opens, which is great. But also when I go to other tournaments, I'll go to the World Series in June.
you playing it?
I won't play in the main event, no. I'm more of an Omaha player, so I'll play the Omaha events. But, I'll be there for about 3 weeks, and obviously I'll be representing Unibet when I'm there.
Is that your first time in Vegas then?
No, I go every year. It's quite funny, actually, because obviously Unibet is European-based, and when you see the list of players, it's just like an Olympiad of Europeans. But a lot of them haven't been to Vegas. And I'm like, God, you've got to go to Vegas. Everyone's got to go to Vegas.
Especially in this industry, if you don't go to Vegas, you're just not in.
No, absolutely. Listen, it's a weird and wonderful place. On the party side of things, obviously Unibet is a really party atmosphere. And you could do worse than go to Vegas for a party. It's 4 miles of bars and clubs and restaurants and everything.
How many Unibet Opens have you been to then?
This is my third. Yeah. I did the first one in London, and then I did Warsaw end of 2009. So this is the first of this year, and I'll go to Valencia, Prague, and Paris later in the year.
Golden Sands?
Golden Sands, I'm going to be in Vegas for. I'd already put my.
You're going to miss out the best one
I know.
in the first half year.
By the beach and everything, but yeah, it kind of clashes with the tournament that I want to go to in Vegas. Listen, some people go to Vegas for 7 weeks. I went for 7 weeks in 2007, but that's a long time, and it does work out quite expensive. But
Depending on where you go, last year I was there for a month and a half, and I didn't spend that much money. I did run off to California at some point because you just get too much of Vegas.
Yeah. Where did you stay?
Oh, we rented a villa.
Oh, really?
It's
cool.
it just ends up to be much better. You can cook yourself because you get enough of burgers. When you're a journalist and you spend a lot of time in the press room, obviously, and covering all these events, because I was there as a journalist as well.
Sure.
Do you have any time to play poker? And how much poker do you play per day?
Well, I don't play. I'm not a full-time poker player, but I guess, I've got other commitments as well. So, for example, I run Bluff Europe Poker Academy, which means that we're running seminars, and at the moment we're in the middle of a series of running seminars. So that takes a lot of work as well. When I am playing poker, I guess I play between 3 and 5 hours a day. And when I'm not, I try and get it in when I can, but it can be difficult. So, typically I played about 500 hours a year of poker, which is not a lot. I guess...
No, but when you say it like that, it's like...
Sounds like a lot. Well, a job is about 1,600 hours a year. And I guess a lot of poker players that are really serious, these young guns that are just...
They play like 5,000 hours a day.
Exactly. So they're probably playing about 2,000 hours a year. And when I was kind of just doing it as a semi-professional thing, as it were, it's kind of boosting my income, I'd play about 500 hours a year. I guess this year with the Unibet sponsorship I'll play more, but there's a lot on at the moment, so it's very difficult to fit the poker in as well as everything else.
In between playing poker, being a journalist, you are also working with your dad. Do you have time for any hobbies?
Well, poker was once my hobby, but now I take it more seriously. I guess I watch a lot of film. I wanted to be a scriptwriter at one point, but that was a while ago now. So
I wanted to be a stewardess.
Oh, did you? That you could probably do. You could.
Especially in America, the Delta, their stewardesses are an average 60 years old. So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's like Harrah's and the staff in Vegas, the girls that come, the waitresses.
Yeah.
So in the Wynn, they're all like supermodels, but Harrah's actually employs a union bunch of people, and so you get 60-year-old cocktail waitresses and stuff like that.
That's lovely. So everybody gets what they need.
Absolutely. Cool.
Speaking of lovely women, we
Yes.
have a lot of women here. What do you feel about that?
I feel it's very good. It's very difficult to focus on the poker, obviously, when there's so many beautiful women, but it's great. Yeah.
Are you familiar with our sister-daughter website, Maria Poker, because we had an event here? And speaking of women in poker, do you play women differently than you play the guys at the tables then? Because some guys yesterday said that women are really, really tough.
God, it's an interesting and moot point. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of misogyny in poker. A lot of men disrespect women and disrespect in poker. I mean, obviously it happens in the world at large, but there seems to be a particularly high degree of misogyny in poker, and that's bad news in general. But I guess because poker is quite a male-dominated sport, then maybe it sort of attracts certain type of people. What's interesting is that online, I think the percentages of women that play poker are something like, it's approximately a third, and live it's probably more like 10% or less.
Yeah.
So, but slowly but surely that will increase, I'm sure, as women get more comfortable in the live arena. And so what Maria's doing is probably quite good for women in poker, because it gets them into the casinos and gets them seeing that, it is not such a bad atmosphere after all.
Also attracting them with giving them expensive purses and shoes.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
really good. Maybe they should start giving guys like Ferraris and stuff.
Yeah, okay. I'll sign up to that, definitely.
You would have to win a very, very big pot for that. What is the biggest pot you've ever won?
Oh, well, I've mostly played cash. I guess the biggest pot I've ever won is $3,000. So I'm not a huge.
Do you remember that hand?
I don't think I do actually. It's Omaha. I mean, I play Omaha. It would have been at 5-10, and I can't actually remember what it was. No, sorry.
Do you remember your unluckiest hand then?
No, I mean, I do. I do remember the details, but I've been playing for quite a while now, and both those hands would have been 2 years ago or so when I was playing a bit of 5-10 at full tilt. I don't necessarily remember the details. I remember the hands I played well and the hands I played badly. But if a hand just goes according to plan, then you'll tend not to remember it. It's focusing on improving your game that's important.
Improving your game, is that one part of the skills that you need to be a good poker player?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's a learned thing. I mean, there's a lot of books at the moment about, ambition is learned, genius is learned, even all these things that we consider natural talent. I mean, there's absolutely no question that poker is a learned skill. Yes, some people are naturally more talented. You can be naturally mathematical, have a good memory. You can be naturally aggressive. There's a whole bunch of things that you can be naturally. But all of those skills you can learn. And so, for example, I'm not naturally an aggressive person, but obviously I've had to learn to be an aggressive poker player because that's a winning way in poker. So it's all about the learning.
Please don't intimidate me.
I promise I won't. Depending on the circumstances.
Well, I won't see you in Bulgaria, but I will see you in Prague.
Yes.
And I will definitely see you in Vegas because I hear that a lot of Unibet players are going.
Excellent.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By players, for players.